Hey everybody, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I wanted to just freestyle talk about this year 2025 because now all of our outer and transpersonal planets have ingressed, meaning they have moved into new signs. So, to list these planets for you, we'll start with the quickest moving, which is Jupiter. Jupiter has been in Gemini for about a year, a little over a year. It is now in the sign of Cancer. Saturn went from Pisces into Aries after about 2.5 years there. Then we had Uranus move from Taurus into Gemini. It's been in Taurus 7 years. We had Neptune move from Pisces into Aries. It's been in Pisces for, gosh, I don't know, over a decade. And then we had Pluto move from Capricorn into Aquarius. It officially stationed there earlier this year. And Pluto was in Capricorn for about 20 something years. Now it'll be in Aquarius for another 20 years. Okay, that's a lot of boring, mundane, but this is significant. Number one, what's significant about these planetary ingresses is that they're moving from earth and water signs into fire and air signs. So, what we need to know about that is earth and water correspond to the practical, right? That's earth, the grounding of life, the material nature of life, the body itself, sustenance, survival. And then water, that's our feeling bodies. That is our intuitive selves. These are both elements that correspond with the yin polarity or the feminine. So you could think of it almost as there's this big shift out of this more feminine, this more receptive mode of being in the world to a much more yang, masculine, out there, outgoing way of being in the world. Fire and air are always masculine, water and earth always feminine, yin or yang, passive or active, however you want to label them. Okay, so this is big stuff. So all of these outer or transpersonal planets are moving from earth and water into fire, air, yin into yang. So we feel and we see a tremendous surge of energy on the planet right now. Huge, huge changes. And we can feel them. We can feel that something is rising in us. Like, I don't know if you guys feel this, but right now, I feel like for the first time in years, like this fiery, let's go out there and do something about it. Let's go out there and make it happen. Whereas in earth and water, we were sort of feeling into things, or we were sort of cultivating a base, or we were sort of chilling out, right? Think those COVID years. Think those sort of pre COVID years. You know, we were just sort of going with the flow, business as usual, Pluto and Capricorn. And then, bam, the pandemic hit, and then things unfold. And now we're in Pluto in Aquarius, where we're not just business as usual anymore. We are closing down business. We are protesting business. We are shutting the whole thing down, honey. And that's really where I actually want to start with making sense of these major planetary ingresses. So if we look at Pluto in Aquarius, Pluto is the outermost planet, dwarf planet, whatever you want to call it. And in evolutionary astrology, Pluto corresponds to evolution itself. And in evolutionary astrology, evolution is made sense of through desire. So, very much like your Buddhism or your Hinduism or any sort of Eastern traditions, Pluto is that force that exhausts desire. So it is karma in a sense. It is the process of burning out karma. That's sort of Pluto's job. It's to sort of move us through whatever needs to be moved through for ultimate liberation, right? This is in the EA paradigm. So if we look at that in the lens of Aquarius, well, then what we're looking to burn through or move through or make happen in the world is a revolution. Aquarius is all about breaking free of constraints. And Aquarius is also about developing new ideals and sticking to those ideals. It's a fixed sign. So it really is about saying, we're not okay with this. We're not okay with the direction this is headed. This is where we want to go now. So Aquarius is also an air sign. It's about our mindset. It's about getting into a new mindset about how we want to run things and then sticking to it and making it happen. So I'm really excited because Pluto in Aquarius, which is going to define the next 20 years, okay, revolution, new ideas, sticking to those ideas, making it happen, is going to be trining Uranus and Gemini for like a long time. So Uranus goes into Gemini July 7th, right? Uranus is the planet that rules Aquarius, and it's in another air sign, Gemini, which is really supportive to Pluto and Aquarius. So we're going to be seeing very soon, even feeling in a sense, that our ideas, our minds, our methods of communication, Gemini, really support this Pluto and Aquarius revolution, longer term vision of how are we going to change things. So, Uranus and Gemini, that can just be, a whole new way we think, communicate, connect. It could be a new social media platform. It could be the shutting down of social media platforms. It could be us all throwing out our phones and finding a way to communicate through our subconscious or through our psyche. Or there's something here about new ways of communicate that support this Aquarian Plutonian revolutionary change. That is a really positive aspect, you guys, and it's going to be happening for a while Uranus is in early degrees of Gemini and Pluto is in early degrees of Aquarius. So that is something we have to really look forward to. Now, let's talk about the fire, because the fire we're under right now is serious. Saturn and Neptune are both in Aries, okay? Saturn, that is the boundaries and the rules of the world. And Neptune is the dissolving of everything. So Saturn and Neptune being together, so close together, means that we are watching the rules fall apart. We're watching, the rules, the governments, the labels, the borders, the whatever have you that Saturn rules, race, right? Gender, constructs. Saturn think constructs. Neptune think Wizard of Oz. We're pulling off the curtain and seeing the truth. We're seeing that none of it actually works. Works for who? Well, Aries is about our individuality. It's about our self-expression. It's about our ability to go out there and self-actualize. So suddenly we're saying, okay, so a lot of these structures and forms that are out there don't actually permit people to self-actualize, don't actually permit people to be themselves. What we also can't ignore is that Aries, in very, very early astrology, ruled war. We are sure seeing a lot of war on the planet today. And Neptune, there can be this complete loss of hope. There can be this complete disillusionment. Saturn, as we watch just these people with all the power and all to say, just keep going. Aries with no self-awareness, with just boom, 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 boom. I'm here to do what I'm here to do, get what I'm here to get, and everybody else is just in my way, right? That's a very, very, very shadowy and not so great, we could say, expression of the Aries archetype. And so how we're receiving that right now is, well, what can I do? Neptune and Aries, what can I actually do to change things? And then there's that Saturn in Aries, which says we need to take very seriously that all the power isn't with these tyrants, that all the power isn't with, Netanyahu and Putin and Trump, as much as we may give it to them via always looking at them on the media. No, the power's with us, the individuals. Aries wants us to find our own power. Aries wants us to find that self-expressive empoweredness. So with the Saturn Neptune there, this is a challenge. We could be going through many ups and downs right now of, setting routines or saying we're going to do the things we're going to do to show up for the new world. And then Neptune, we see another war happen, and what's even the point? So there's really a test right now as to our own inner strength, as to our ability to show up for the new world. Once again, I mainly come from an evolutionary astrology background. So you can sort of trace everything in a natal chart, everything in a transit chart to Pluto. So Pluto in Aquarius, it wants to throw off the conditioning and set new rules that supports our highest individual self-expression, and as well supports the collective in that, right? Aquarius, Pluto, it's liberté, égalité. What's the other one? Liberté, égalité. Somebody finish my sentence in the comments. But Pluto and Aquarius, okay, French Revolution was the last time it appeared. So we're bringing it back to that. We're bringing it back to that a revolution is brewing. And we can read all the planets as supporting that or hindering that. So let's move on to our water sign that we had a planet ingress to. That would have been Jupiter in Cancer just a couple days ago, maybe a week now. Jupiter is the planet of gaining wisdom and of expanding consciousness and expanding our minds and our beliefs and our philosophies. What a wonderful planet Jupiter can be when it's wonderful. Well, in Cancer, it's actually exalted, meaning that it does very well in Cancer. And why does it do well in Cancer? I'm actually not quite sure. Maybe somebody else can help me out in the comments there. I mean, I know it's because of visibility in the heavens and ancient astrology, but let's just say that, Cancer loves its home. Cancer loves its comforts. Cancer is the mother. And when we have Jupiter anywhere, we're going to expand. So Jupiter in Cancer, to me, is sort of like an expanding of where we're at. Like it's sort of becoming more present, more attuned to these themes of care. And how can we care for ourselves, for our neighbors, for the world? Okay. So there's this expansion of consciousness happening around who needs care and how we can be more compassionate and how we can be more motherly. And what does Mother Earth need? How can we show up for her? Jupiter in Cancer is currently in a square to the Saturn and Neptune in Aries. So there is a challenge. Squares are about challenges, right? They're that aspect ruled by Mars. They're stressful. They're aggressive. They can feel impossible to surmount. Cancer wants to care. It wants to nurture. It wants to hold the home. Aries wants to go out there and blow shit up in the backyard. So it's like this challenge between, us trying to expand our ability to feel at home or to feel like we're caring for something or to feel cared for ourselves. But there's this square to the Aries energy, which is making it hard because the Aries energy is somebody over here, and it could be another person, but it's usually us or a part of us that we're projecting, right? So we have Cancer over here. Oh, I want to be comfortable. I want to, create something nurturing and beautiful and wonderful. And then there could be a part of ourselves that's over here like, I want to fight, or I want to leave the comfort zone, or I want to leave the nest, and I want to go out on my own and make it happen. So there's this tension that could be manifesting in a way where maybe we're trying to achieve comfort somehow, but there's this force coming in, right, through that Aries square that's aggressive, or that's because it's Saturn Neptune, a bit confusing, or there's a lot of rules or structures we have to abide by, and we don't really feel like we're able to create that comfortable balance. So to me, one of the healing balms of this square situation we're in between Cancer and Aries is self-leadership. So we have to integrate squares and oppositions. You always have to really work to integrate because they're hard, they're rigid, they feel like friction. So we have to find a way to soften them. And the way you soften this Cancer Aries archetype is you have to find a way to hold the balance of going out there into the world and making something happen with Aries and coming back home and holding the fort down. So we have to find a way to balance and to trust that as we nurture and set the nurturing grounds, we can go out there and do what we need to do. Likewise, in order to go out there and do what we need to do or to fight for the new world, Cancer, we need to be very, very focused on our self-care and on the care for those around us. In other words, nothing can happen on that individual Aries level until the home is taken care of, until the basics are taken care of. So there's a lot more I could say on that. I mean, Jupiter also is beliefs and ideas and sometimes, blowing things out of proportion. So in Cancer, our emotional tendency can be a bit heightened. We can fall for our emotions a bit. Our emotions could be a bit expanded. Um, and that could be making it hard to maybe feel comfortable in the Aries energy of self-actualization, self-leadership, making and breaking in ourselves. But once again, we have to find a way for these things to come together. Not as easy as it may sound. So I think I've covered most of the ingresses. So we've got Neptune, Saturn, Uranus, Pluto, Jupiter. I'm going to be really embarrassed if I'm missing any. I guess, and I might be missing one. I guess, something else we could go into is the nodes. The nodes are all about ego growth in the evolutionary astrology paradigm. So, you have Pluto and Aquarius, that's the desire, that's the zeitgeist of the times, that's the overarching theme. And then the nodes, South node, what are we going to leave behind to get there? North node, who do we have to become to be there? So the South node right now is Virgo. Okay, so we need to release our judgment. We need to release our need for discrimination and perfection and control. Oh, who's this person? What country are they from? What border did they cross? This Virgo dimension of cutting everything into little bite-sized pieces and handing them out to different people at the dinner party. No, the opposite, Pisces, bakes a huge cake and everyone just eats it with their hands and loves one another. So, we need to move towards Pisces, which is this very big energy of inclusion, of compassion, of seeing things without distinction, discrimination, or borders, of seeing us more of as a collective. So in your own life, you could be going through this at some level where you're being asked to let go of an area of life where perhaps have a lot invested. There's a lot of ways that you are, dicing it up and organizing it and trying to control it. That's going to be that house where you have Virgo. That house where you have Pisces is where you need to go to let go. It's where you need to go to get over your own separation from other people and expand into wholeness, oneness, the collective. I love this North Node in Pisces right now because it's really like saying that if we don't get off our high horse of this nation or this political group or this social group, like if we don't get off that Virgo horse, we're never going to get to the Aquarian revolution of all of us. And that Pisces archetype is always about all of us. Aquarius is the collective in the sense that everyone gets to be an individual. Pisces is the collective in the sense that nobody's an individual. We're all the same thing. So Pisces takes it a step further, which means getting to a place in our own egos where we can recognize on the Piscean level, okay, we are all cells, or we all are bodies, or we all are souls emanating from the same source. However you word it, the Piscean work is the big work on our own egos in order to bring in the Pluto Aquarius changes. So, no small feat right now. Oh, later in the year, over the summertime, if you're in the northern hemisphere. For me, it's the winter time. I'm in the southern hemisphere. Um, in the next couple months, Mars is going to be joining up with the South Node in Virgo. And Mars stresses things out and it speeds things up. So wherever there needs to be a release around these Virgo themes of, discrimination, crossing out certain people, selecting certain people, wherever that is really prominent right now in our society, Mars is going to cut it out. I feel like that's going to be a huge time of protests, of people totally throwing the kibosh on, whatever it is that in that moment is the most concerning and pressing. Um, but we have to remember that as we're doing the kiboshing and the protesting and the all of it, that North Node in Pisces is really inviting us to get a little bit more spiritual. And by spiritual, I don't mean you have to be a student of a course or a student of the Bible or whatever. You could be secular, it could be atheist, it could be whatever. But by spiritual, it is the recognition that beyond us lies something, and behind us lies something that none of us could have created on our own. That nobody is actually apart from the millions, gazillions of years of ancestry of the universe and millions and gazillions of years into the future that the universe will continue. Like, we're not separate from that. That's how I see spirituality. It's sort of like, or even science can be very spiritual in the sense that it's acknowledging that we are part of something so much greater. And that's what Pisces is about. So, really, I love that North Node in Pisces for helping us cultivate that consciousness. And once again, look to the house where you have Pisces to see, okay, like, what area of life am I being asked to step into in order to like get in touch with that? Um, is Pisces your first house? Is it spending more time with you? Is it making more happen on your own? Is Pisces in your 10th house? Are you being asked to show up for your career in a new way? Is Pisces in your 7th house? Are your relationships going to be the area that allow you to tap into this universal sense of compassion and togetherness? So, that's what I would recommend. Always looking at the nodes and Pluto, and then sort of thinking about the other planets as supporting the Pluto nodes mission and themes. Okay, you guys, whew, that is it for me today, talking about the ingresses. I also wrote an article about the ingresses on my Substack, and I hope you check it out. Hope you enjoy. Thanks so much for watching.